Yeah, we're not good enough to just show up. We have to be excited to play every single night and play with the same effort and energy we did on Saturday against Arkansas. And I don't know. We didn't have that same fire pregame that and leading up today. I thought we had a couple of really good practices, but once we got here, I just didn't see the same intensity, the same focus, the same energy today leading up to the game that was needed to beat a really good Missouri team. All that, and we're up 7 with 13:37 left, and we let a few distractions affect us and allowed them to get back in the game, and they made 7 threes in the first half, and that's part of the game plan, is to let them shoot threes, because like you saw in the second half, they really want to get inside and they want to attack the paint. And, I think that kind of knocked the wind out of our sails a little bit, because they made those shots. But, our guys just got to trust that that's part of the game plan. And they made 7 threes. We're down 4 at halftime. And, it didn't look right at halftime. And we got to fix that, because, Keyshawn Hall and Todd didn't play great in the first half. They make 7 threes. We're down 4. Like, we're in a great spot at that point. And, they come out in the first couple minutes of the second half and they execute and get it to like 9 or 11, I think. And, now we're playing catch up the rest of the game. Too many defensive breakdowns, just poor communication on some switching that led to open shots or layups. And, we didn't play great. Missouri did a great job of limiting, our 2 best players. And I thought we let our offense affect our defense in that regard. We got to respond with, what the defense is giving us. In order for us to win on the road, it's really hard to win on the road in this league, like really hard. We can't make it more difficult than it already is. And I thought tonight we did that. Missouri had a lot to do with that. But there's some things internally that we got to fix, when we get in these tough situations, in order for us to, get a quality win on the road against a really good opponent. So, I'll take any questions.
Steven, how surprised were you that you guys didn't have that effort and energy, like you said, coming off of the 21-point win, and like you said, y'all had good practices back home. How surprised were you that it looked different?
Very. I mean, you saw the energy in the gym those 2 days. Like, it was really good. Guys were flying around and in a good spot. And, we've had really good practices since Christmas. And, that's been consistent. And then today, it just, it didn't look right. And, we had a sloppy walkthrough and, trying to insert some energy and, get us going a little bit. And it just we looked hungover, and I'm not sure why. So I got to figure that out. I got to do a better job as a coach, in those situations, because we can't come out flat like that. We're not good enough to not be the more excited team and the team that plays with the most effort and energy. And, in order for us to win these types of games, like, that's how we have to play. And we didn't do that tonight. So incredibly surprised and obviously disappointed myself for not being able to get them up and excited to play a really good team.
Coach Gates said that part of their defensive strategy was to try to limit the number of shot attempts and just kind of let people not named Tahad Pettiford and Keyshawn Hall take shots. What were they doing defensively to kind of force you guys to have other people take those shots?
Yeah, I mean, in ball screens, they were impacting and blitzing Tahad and just making him get off of it. And, with Key, they were just really loaded to the ball, and he just saw bodies the entire time. And, Key has 7 assists, but he has 5, not great turnovers, like turnovers where he wasn't making the easy pass. He had that skip pass that went out of bounds. He, had a couple interior passes that weren't great. And Key's he might be the best passer on our team, and in those situations, like he's done all year, he's got to accept the double and get off it. So, I mean, he's got to understand, like, he's gone back-to-back 30-point games. Like, teams aren't just going to let you score at will. And, he's got to be able to adjust to that. Same thing with Tahad. Tahad plays 31 minutes and has 2 assists. I thought in the last 5 minutes, Tahad did a really good job of attacking the defense and making nice reads. And we got like 3 clean threes and 3 layups. We missed all of them. So Tahad could have easily had a bunch of assists late in the game. But in 34 minutes leading up to that, he's got to facilitate a little bit more. So they did a great job of keying on those two guys. I'll have to go back and watch the film to see how many of those shots we missed, but I think we could have done a better job of just, executing based on them putting two in the ball. Because, I mean, Arkansas did the same thing with Tahad, and Tahad had 7 assists, I think. So he did a really good job in that game. He's got to continue to do that, especially on the road, in order for us to win. So they did a good job of limiting those guys. And, those guys got to trust that, we talk about scoring early and we talk about scoring late. Tahad specifically took, 4 like middle offense shots that just weren't great shots, and they were contested. And, Tahad's got to trust that, his teammates are going to bail him out with made shots. But then, on top of that, we're going to try and get him some clean looks so he can get into his rhythm a little bit more.
Was this another one of those games where you wish you had more depth to press because that comeback in the last few minutes, y'all were really getting after there?
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. Part of it, too, is, would we have that same sense of urgency in the first 20 minutes? I don't know. Because we pressed earlier in the year, and, we didn't have that same sense of urgency and pressure early. I wish we would, because like you've seen in the Texas A&M game, like you've seen, in this game, when we do get after it and pressure, we're pretty good because we got good speed and good quickness, and we got good athletes. But I'm not sure if, I'm not sure if we would have that same mentality in a close ball game for 40 minutes like we would need to. But yes, to answer your question, I wish we had 2 more guys that we could throw in there with some size that would help us. Because here's the deal. If we pressed, we would not have any energy to be able to execute offensively. And this team is much better offensively than it is defensively. So we have to save our legs so offensively we can execute in order to win games.
So you mentioned the 7 made threes in the first half. Did that force you guys to change anything schematically, or do you think that's kind of a mindset thing, closeouts that allow driving lanes?
Yeah, it's a mindset thing because, it's in the second half, they just did a better job of just attacking the rim. And, we had a lot of bad breakdowns just in, our switching. They ran a lot of floppy in the second half, and we were, point switching, which we never do, or we're not supposed to do. And it led to them getting some advantages where they're able to get downhill. And then, they're really good on angles. And they had a lot of angles in the second half that we gave them. So, but yeah, I mean, part of it, Coach, you said that, we want them to shoot threes. Well, they made 7. What are we doing? You got to trust the fact that, over the game, we want them to shoot 14 threes a half. They only shot 5 in the second half. So we kind of got away from what was really good in the first half, and they did a great job of just attacking the rim. So, yeah, part of it was, we were flying at shot fakes on long closeouts because we had seen them make a bunch of threes. But a lot of the threes they made in the first half was because we had breakdowns on the backside, defensively in the post. We weren't supposed to offer any help on the backside, and so many times, we were just loaded. We had 5 guys in the paint on the backside as opposed to being spread out on those shooters and just helping on the ball side in the post. So they did a really good job of taking advantage of us being packed in, and, that's going to happen sometimes. But when it does happen, you can't allow it to affect the rest of your defense like we did in the second half.
Coach, the 3 ball was obviously a big part of your win over Arkansas tonight. What did Missouri's length do? How did it influence the way in which you were able to get more decent looks at the basket?
They just did a great job of flying out and running us off the 3-point line. Great length will do that. And we talked about using shot fakes and playing off 2. And anytime we did that, it was really successful. Anytime we didn't, it usually led to a turnover or a tough shot. So, I mean, we missed multiple layups. Part of that is they had great length and great size. And early in the game, we had some success attacking the rim. And we kind of had it in spurts, but we missed some easy ones around the rim. But they did a great job of just running us off the 3-point line. And when Key and Tahad are 0 for 8 from 3, we're gonna have a hard time winning games.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.